Hi, I'm Deanne from Billings Public Library, and we're starting a new craft series about acrylic paint pouring. Welcome to my kitchen. This is sometimes also my art studio, and I enjoy acrylic paint pouring as a hobby. I took it up because it looked fun, and it is fun. So I wanted to share it with you today, and we'll get started talking about tools and supplies. And some of these you may already have around your house. So, of course, one of the things you're going to need to do acrylic paint pouring is to have something to pour it onto. These are canvases. You can pick up canvases at any hobby store in town. There are a couple of kinds you get. These are the basic ones that are stapled in the back. They are pre-primed. Most of them are pre-primed these days, so you don't need to worry about getting it ready to pour on too much. The other kind is the gallery wrapped. You can see that instead of just being stapled flat to the back, it's wrapped behind. It's finished a little nicer. If you're going to go into this and sell your canvases, you may want to invest in these. But when you're just getting started, you can do the regular canvases. You can also do paint boards that you can pick up at a hobby store, or you can pour on lots of things. I've seen people pour on vases and other glass items, and it turns out beautifully. You will, of course, need paint. And again, you can get those in any supply store. You're looking for acrylic paints. Don't let anybody tell you that the craft paint you already have in the house won't work, because it will. What you do get when you move up to an artist paint is to get something that is more richly pigmented and deeper tones, and you'll get a better finish, but the craft paints will certainly work. You can also get the paints in a little more liquid form. You can also get them where they're already pre-mixed for acrylic paint pouring, which is super convenient, but is of course a little more costly. To go with that, if you're going to be mixing your own paints, which I do generally, there is an option for something that is a conditioner for that paint. This one is called Floetrol. It is an additive that's actually used in house paint to help it be a little more self-leveling and go on more smoothly. And you can mix that with your paint. You can also, people use a little dish soap. I've seen people use white glue. There's some people who just do plain paint and water, and that can also work as well. And then of course you need something to mix it in. I usually go with a favorite standby paper cup, and you can get as fancy as you want with this. You can get nice silicone cups that you can peel the paint off of, and they're easy to clean up. But really, the paper cups work. And to mix them up with plain old craft sticks, you probably have some of those around the house. As you see, these have already been used, and I use them over and over again. Once you've washed them up with soap and water, they're ready to go, and the paint won't bleed into the next batch of paint that you mix up. I also have a little paint palette that I use just when I want to use something a little stronger mixture of it. I have paint brushes. You don't need a full roll of paint brushes, but if you have a few, a broad one and maybe a finer one, you will use that for touching up here and there and maybe preparing the canvas up front. I like to use that. Plain old masking tape. If you get painter's tape, that's even better, but plain masking tape will work. I use this one on when I'm covering the surface of my table, and then also on the back of a canvas, and you see where it looks nice and clean, I will usually tape it off so this remains looking a little nicer rather than having all the paint dribbles and drabbles all over the back of it. And then I also like to get freezer paper. You can get this pretty much anywhere where you buy foil or plastic wrap. It is like the butcher paper you get at a deli counter. It is paper on one side and plastic on the other, so it absorbs on one side and then it keeps it from going through to the edge. I use this to cover my table with. Also, because acrylic paint pouring pours down over the surface of your canvas, you're going to want to have your canvas raised up so that it just doesn't puddle right next to it. So there are a couple ways you can go about that. You know what? The paper cups work just fine for this as well. You can set it down on that. If you want to spend some money, and I did, you can get artist's risers that do the same thing, and you can set it down on there and just match this to the size of your canvas and put one at each corner. And these clean up really well with soap and water as well. They're just made out of plastic, and I think I bought 20 of them in a package. So that is really the basic materials that you need to get started. And next time we will show you the basics of mixing up our paints and doing our first canvas.